Have you ever started a project and thought this will be easy to budget, only to find unexpected costs piling up? Or maybe you've struggled to figure out where to even begin with estimating project costs. You are not alone, and that's exactly why we are here today. In this video, I'm breaking down how to estimate project costs accurately, step by step. I'll give you a solid theoretical understanding of the process. I'll cover everything you need to know in terms of how to understand the full scope of work of your project, why gathering accurate data is the key to success, the different estimation methods and how to choose the right one, how to account for risks and contingencies to avoid surprises, and finally, the importance of reviewing your estimate to ensure it's rock solid. By the end of this video, you will have a clear framework to approach any project with confidence, and let's start. Hello and welcome to Cost Engineering Professional. I am Ahmed Adel, and here I help you develop the required skills and enhance your knowledge to elevate your cost engineering career. So if this is what you want, you can quickly subscribe. And with this out of the way, let's see how can we estimate project costs accurately. The first step here is understanding the scope of work. And by understanding the scope of work, we need to focus on these things. We need to focus on project goals and deliverables. So when I have a project, I need to understand what are the goals of the project. What is my scope of work? Do I need only to do structure? This can be a deliverable. You are a contractor hired to do only the structure works. Or you are required to do the structural and architectural works, both of them, or MEP as well. So you are required to deliver a turnkey project. Or sometimes you are only hired to do the fit out works. So this can be a deliverable. After this, we will be breaking down the tasks and identifying necessary resources. So what are the resources that I'll need for any item in the project or for my scope of work? Basically, we are talking about the materials, and we are talking about the plant or equipment required and the labors required. And sometimes you will need subcontractors if you are a main contractor. So if you are a main contractor for the project, you will not do everything in-house. You might need subcontractors as well. So you identify the scope, then you see what are the resources that you need. This point is called understanding the scope of work. After you understand the scope of work, you will go to the second point, which is gathering accurate data. Gathering accurate data, we need to collect material, labor, and equipment cost data. So you need to know the cost. Here, people who are watching Cost Engineering Professional are from different countries. Maybe sometimes I'm giving you examples with numbers, but these numbers are applicable for me, or maybe applicable to the people around me as well. But if you are in a very different country, you need to see what is the cost of each item or of each resource even. Labors, subcontractors, equipment, all of that in your country. So this is part of gathering the data. Also, using historical data and market rates is a very important point to cover, because when you are estimating the cost for a project, it is not always that you will get vendor quotations. Maybe you have good quotations in the past, or maybe you know some prices. Still, you will need to use something from your past experience. Plus, of course, you will get market rates, vendor quotations, and all of that. This is the thing that you will need. In order to build your price, you need the prices of others in terms of the supply and in terms of the installation as well. So supply and installation. So what are the rates for the supply of the materials, different items in the project, and the installation of the same? These are data that you need to acquire. You need to gather these data. And as we said, some of them will be historical and some of them will be brought via market quotations. Third point is choosing the right estimation method. And what is right estimation method? So here we have three estimation methods. We have something that is called bottom up or top down. This is a second one. And third one is parametric. What do we mean here? Usually we have a project, as you can see here. This is a project. So when you are using the bottom up methodology for estimating the cost, usually you will start from the bottom. So here, as you can see, I have a project, structural, architectural, and MEP works. And under the structure, we have site works, substructure, superstructure, waterproofing. I am assuming these work packages are coming under the structure. And under the architectural, we have these packages here. Internal finishes, external doors and windows, metalworks, woodworks, and so on. And under the MEP, we have mechanical and electrical. You might also have external works. You might have general requirements. So here I am just splitting the project into packages, and each package is being split into smaller packages, and each smaller package will be split into items. So when you are using the bottom up, you will be starting the pricing from down, from the lowest point. Lowest point means the activity or the item or the task. And you will be estimating the task price, then the work package price, then a bigger work package price, then you reach the project price. So you are going like that. And this is what you see in a BOQ. You go into each item and you estimate the cost for each item. So you are starting from the very low level and you are making your way all the way up to the project price. This is the bottom up. When we are talking about top down is when you say, I'm going to make this project for 1,800,000. So you are starting with the number, and it is the opposite of the bottom up. Here you are starting from the number already. I am not calculating from down to reach up to this number. No, I am starting with this number. And now if I want to execute this project with 1,800,000, then how much the structure should be? Let's say 30%. Then the architectural, let's say 40% here, 40%. And the MEP, let's say another 30%. So I am dividing this budget into these 3 percentages. So I am getting the price or the cost of each of these work packages. And then if I want to finish the structure by 600,000, which is 30% of the 1.8 million, 600,000 here. If I need to finish the structure by 600,000, what should be the items? Then I'll start changing or modifying the design or making a new design from the start so that I can fit into this budget. So this method is called the top down. I'm starting from top and I'm trying to see how can I execute this project for this budget. The third one here, which is the parametric. The parametric is that it's similar when you have the rate per square meter or square foot, and you just go and multiply this rate by the built up area and you get the project amount. And actually in the top down method here, you will ask me, how can you get this figure? Like you are saying, okay, I'm starting from the top and I'm going down. So I have 1.8 million and I need to execute. From where did you bring this 1.8 million? You can bring it from the parametric estimation method. You can say that this project is so and so built up area multiplied by the rate. You get this amount, then you are starting distributing this money for the work packages to see how can you execute this project with this budget. So these are the 3 estimation methods that we have here. And also how to select a method based on project complexity and requirements. So it depends on the circumstance. Like if you are being invited to a tender or to a bid, then of course you will go from down to up because you have a BOQ, you have drawings, specifications, so you are just building your costs and you are building your price for the project by pricing the items from down to up. But if you are the client of the project, maybe you will need to use the top-down method because you have a budget and within this budget you have to execute. So in that case, you will choose for going to the top-down. I have a specific number and based on this number, I want to execute this project if I am the client. Parametric, sometimes when you are doing a screening or when you are trying to study the feasibility of the project before going into any further efforts, design and so on. So these are the 3 cases where you can use these 3 methods. Point number 4 here is accounting for contingencies and risks. And when we want to account for contingencies and risk, we need to identify potential risks and their impact on costs. And I know now you will say, Ahmed, what risks, man? You are just giving theoretical and all. What risk can be there? I can tell you one of the risks can be that you are working with a client who doesn't pay on time. So you will not get payment on time. This is one of the risks that you might encounter in a project. Now, you are pricing and you are estimating the cost, and when you know that this risk might be there, so some countermeasures you should take. For example, maybe BOQ front loading, so you are giving higher weightage or bigger weightage to the items that comes in the start of the project. Why? Because the client will not be paying on time, so you need to get a big amount of money in the beginning to keep your cash flow like healthy and you can finish the project. So this is a potential risk. And how it can impact the cost? Actually, you can just go and increase your price. If you know that this client will not be paying on time, you can just increase the price, or you can do BOQ front loading. So this risk will make an impact on the cost. If you know it's a very good client who will be paying on time, I'm just taking the client and the payment on time as an example of risks. If you know that the client is nice and he will be paying on time and everything, so this might reduce your cost because you are not allowing for any risk. But if you know that a risk will be there, then you might go and increase your price by a certain percentage to account for this risk. So just accounting for risks is very important when you are estimating the cost. And adding contingency allowances for unforeseen expenses. And actually, when I say unforeseen expenses, so I know that I am going to be spending in something, but I don't know what this thing will be. And I know it looks funny or feels funny a little bit. I'm going to spend in a scope which I don't know. Yes, because it is unforeseen. You have to allow for unforeseen events or unforeseen expenses. And if you remember, the first point we discussed here was understanding the scope of work. So if you understand the scope of work very well, you should be able to estimate the cost very accurately. But sometimes you will encounter what we call the unforeseen expenses, and you have to allow for that in your estimate. Like you have estimated the cost of the work itself and the general requirements, you have the cost of the project, then you should add something for the risk. Here you should add the risk, and the unforeseen events also should be added, and all these contingencies and risk and all these allowances will eventually lead to increase in a project cost or a project price, for sure. So it's better to avoid, but if these things are most probably to happen, then we have to allow for the risks and contingencies in our cost estimate. And the fifth point is reviewing and validating the estimate. So here we need to provide double checks for the calculations and the accuracy that we are using and all. And what we can do here, we can confirm the scope one more time, and we can check the material prices, the prices that we have allowed for labors, what equipment will we need, plant or equipment, subcontractor rates, check them one more time. So basically you are just doing a reviewing and validation of the estimate after you finish. You have your items, you have your cost for each item, and you have the total for the project. But when you finish, now you need to validate and review your estimate to make sure that you have not missed anything, you don't have any mistakes. Go through your scope of work, material, labor, plant, equipment, subcontractors, review everything one more time to double check your calculations for more accuracy. And also we need to get feedback from stakeholders or experts. And I always believe that 2 eyes like that is better than 1 eye. So usually even me myself, when I estimate for a project, I prefer to bring some colleague or one of the stakeholders to have a look with me. So 2 eyes are looking at the project from 2 different perspectives. It's better than only me looking at everything and studying. Still, maybe I miss something, because when you look from top, it's different. When you are involved in the details of the project and all, you might miss something. But someone who is coming with a fresh mind to have a look with you, have you accounted for this item? Be careful, maybe you will encounter 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is always to get It is always very nice to get feedback from stakeholders or experts in your company. If you have a manager, if you have a colleague who can have a look with you at the project, this is something that is very important as well. And now, since you know these steps, let me know in the comments below, are you applying these steps already in your cost estimate or no? And you can watch this video here to see my cost estimation template. It shows you how I make the template and how I link or map the costs of the material and the labors and everything. And that will be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.